I mean, we're a DIY band through and through. We're just now starting to work with people. We have a manager now, and we just signed a contract with him. So, like, right now is really that tip of the roller coaster. I think we're about to go down. So it's going to be very interesting.
This is A Band's Life, a video podcast where musicians share their experiences so we can all better navigate the music industry. We talk about jobs and touring, relationships and social media, and we always want to hear your stories. So please subscribe and send us bands that you'd love to hear. We're on YouTube and your favorite podcasting app. This is podcast number 4, and we have a band from Sacramento, California called Perfect Score. But before we start, I want to let you all know, I'm starting a label, and it's called Not Today Robot. Currently, I don't have any bands on the roster, so if you're interested, go to the website, nottodayrobot.com, and fill out all the information. Now, I normally preach that a band should be consistent in their social media posts, so I should probably be taking some of my own medicine. I haven't been posting regularly, and it's not just because I'm really busy. I actually emailed about 50 bands last week, and only 3 got back to me. So if you know of any bands that are interested, go ahead and send them my way. I'm always looking for new bands to interview. The podcast is going to be released about every other week, and it's going to be released on Wednesdays. Once again, a reminder to subscribe on YouTube and on your favorite podcasting app like iTunes, Stitcher, and Spotify. But without further ado, Perfect Score.
Get it together and get someone else to care. I don't care.
All right, guys, thanks for being on. It's really awesome to have a pop punk band on because I'm more of a pop punk fan. Go ahead and introduce you guys and who you are and what your names are.
So we're Perfect Score. We're a pop punk band out of Sacramento, California. My name is Jeff. I play the drums.
I'm Chris. I play guitar.
What's up? I'm Galen. I play bass.
I'm Cameron. I play guitar also.
And I'm Ethan, and I'm lead vocals.
So, the whole point of my podcast is to, I know that in general, kind of what you see in the music industry is more pop-based or not bands, basically. And I wanted to, reach out to more bands and see how they're surviving because it takes a lot more nowadays to actually survive in the music industry. So the first question I'd be how well do you think you guys are actually surviving in the music industry?
Ooh.
Okay, so in terms of our local success, I think that's where we're at right now. And we put a lot into that, and we're at that breaching point. We have a manager now, so we're trying to get outside of the town, outside of town, tour more and stuff. But on the big picture, we're
Nothing.
Yeah, we don't really have too much going on outside of Sacramento, but
Yeah.
I would say we're not quite in the quote unquote industry yet. Because personally, just me, when I think of industry, I think of the official labels and indie labels, and everyone who's worked with business partners and stuff. And I feel we're still pretty small, so we aren't really in an industry yet. We're kind of trying to break in. So I feel we're no need to survive yet.
We're slowly branching out. So I guess you could say we're sort of testing the waters right now and getting more and more out there every day.
The thing is we're not really young. I mean, the youngest is Chris. He's 23. So we all have our own lives. So we've learned from our personal experiences that setting yourself up before you get out there is definitely going to help us in the long run. And I mean, we're a DIY band through and through. We're just now starting to work with people. We have a manager now, and we just signed a contract with him. So, right now is really that tip of the roller coaster. I think we're about to go down. So it's going to be very interesting.
Nice. Well, I know you guys don't feel like you guys are in the industry so much, but you guys got some pretty good scores on, say, Spotify and Facebook. So you guys are on your way.
Yeah, and just to reiterate what I said, I think that's going to help us in the long run as we've been do-it-yourself for so long, because we've been a band for 2 years, and I feel like we've moved pretty quick, but we haven't really hit that next level almost because we want to be ready.
We wanted to kind of get our figure stuff out when we are in our local scene. So if there's anything that didn't quite work out, we could tweak it, modify, move this over here, do that instead, and figure out what we're doing now. So now that we feel like we've kind of got us solid and we're happy with what we're doing and like the things that we're doing, that now we can really push it to the rest of the world outside of Sacramento, outside of California. and show them like what we've got and who we are now.
Cool. So like when did you guys actually start?
Late 2016, summer 2016, I think.
In the summer.
Yeah.
A couple of random meetups here and there. Went quiet for a little bit, and then we're like, "Hey, weren't we doing something?" And then we were like, "Oh yeah," and jumped back in and started working it out.
So we had like all up of like half of 2016, and then 2017 we were playing a couple shows, and just like we had like it took a really long time to get stuff recorded, and we all pretty much agree that this year was like our first real year, because like we felt that's when we had all this shit together. That's when we started getting more serious and getting our music out there, and like getting more serious shows and stuff like that. So it's been like 2 years, but it feels like actually being Perfect Score has like been 1 year. So it's weird to explain, but.
So it's been like 1 year
for the first year.
like since you kind of like went like hardcore into it.
Oh yeah.
Totally.
And actually, Jeff and I were in a pop punk band for 6 years together. We're the older guys. Yeah, it was almost 6 years. We were the older guys in the band, and we learned a lot from that.
Yeah.
And we were very popular live, but that was it. We didn't do anything else really. So that's how Jeff and I know each other. But then how you guys met? Their meetup is what made this whole.
One thing that's kind of cool that we can say is we all didn't just meet from like Craigslist, which is like a lot of bands. Like some of my old bands. That's how we all met the members. It's easy to just meet people on social media. But I met Jeff at a show. In 2016, it was a show one of my old bands was supposed to play, but we dropped off that show, but I still wanted to go. And so I met him there, and then later on in the year when that band broke up, I remember Jeff had told me he's looking for a new band. So I hit up Jeff, who brought Ethan, and someone else from another band in our local scene called Hard Feelings recommended Chris to me, because he was with them for a little while, but then wasn't after that. And so then we all met up, we played like a couple practices. We had someone playing guitar for a little while.
Our old guitarist, actually.
Yeah. So actually, from our old band, it was 3/4 of our old band originally. But and he's actually my older brother, and he his heart wasn't in it, so he just stepped away. And I thought of Galen automatically because he was in a pop punk band that played with us as well, and he's just an awesome guy. I mean, the guy laying up there. But we wanted the one thing we wanted, the four of us wanted, like, more than anything, was just somebody we can vibe with, and is Galen's the most like neutral spirit. Like, he can get along with anybody, and I think he's kind of the guy in our band that keeps everything smooth.
You know what's really funny that I haven't really thought of until now is originally Chris was playing bass and Galen was brought in as lead guitar.
That's true.
How different our songs would be if we had his playing style on bass as opposed to lead guitar.
It would be lead bass.
Originally, when I first messaged everyone for the very first practice, I was trying to be the singer, but I thought I was good and I was not so good. Ethan, since he was the singer of the last band, he like showed us what he had as a singer, and we're all like, fuck, okay, Ethan's a singer now. And I've always been a guitarist.
I was confused because Jeff's like, hey, we might start a pop punk band. You want to sing? So I show up, and Cameron's like, so yeah, when I start singing, and I'm like,
yeah, because he was.
I clickbaited a little bit.
Yeah, you were like, oh, I know a guy who plays guitar.
Because I do play guitar, but I am the least talented physical musician in this band.
You play guitar, but you're not a guitarist.
Yes.
But I am a guitarist, but I can sing, but I'm not a singer. So we just kind of switched it around and made it work for us.
I've been hitting shit since the beginning.
Nice. So how's Sacramento with shows and whatnot? Where do you guys normally play, or do you travel out?
Okay, so man, I'll take this one for a second. Sacramento, and I don't know, because I want to take this one just because I'm so involved in the scene. I haven't been to any other music scene, but is it basically like it's basically like a huge, like, it's like a high school, like the music scene. Is it like that everywhere? Because like in LA or anything?
I feel like LA is so big that it's hard to be like that, but I'm from outside Chicago, and it was definitely like that, so.
Okay, because it seems like everybody knows everybody, but there are so many cliques, and, people support each other, but it's like,
You support each other, but then you go to your friends, you're like, oh, did you see that stuff he was doing, dude? They're so lame. and then you're like, oh hey dude, nice to see you, man. Your show was so good.
But that being said, I only know Sacramento, so it's been good to me for all these years. But from the outsiders that I know, we have some friends that are from the Bay Area and stuff. They're from San Jose. They say that it is the best scene they've ever been to, and they've toured around the entire U.S. So that means something to me. And I think the fact that it is small but kind of big, it helps, because it's like L.A. It's not too big to where you just get lost in the madness in L.A. probably, but in Sacramento. Yeah. In Sacramento, it's like if you're doing good, you're going to be noticed.
Yeah, and one thing that's it's kind of the same as every scene, I feel like, is there are people who are super genuine, and we have our friends in bands that we all really love, and we all know who's which ones are our favorites that we can rely on, people that we can trust. There's always other people who aren't as genuine, but you still you're friends with just for because everyone's in the scene, everyone's got good music going on.
You gotta keep it cool, man.
But so everyone
nice
is really great. One thing that is interesting about us is that we've kind of found that Sacramento is more of like a hard rock kind of heavy metal town. Mm-hmm. There's not so much pop punk here. There's like, off the top of my head, I can probably list all the pop punk bands in Sacramento on my hand. There's a big punk scene, and there's big like metal and hard rock scene. So the interesting thing for us is that I feel like we're able to kind of like cut through the noise of all those bands, just because we play a slightly different genre, but it's still kind of like enough to fit in with all our friends in like heavier bands. So it's an interesting mixture that we've got.
We are definitely like in that kind of sweet spot with rock, because we're soft enough to play with. Like, we played a real big show with a friends of ours called The Color Wild, and they're really pop, but it fits so well together. Mm-hmm. And then you turn around, and we played shows with metal bands, and it surprisingly worked. And the thing about our scene is that the kids that go to those shows, they're going to enjoy the metal band, they're going to enjoy the pop band. So I guess to speak to the fans of the area, like, it's a very diverse crowd, and they've been open arms with our pop punk band, which is good.
I think pop punk's kind of like that in general, to where it fits in, because it's not just punk, say like old school punk, but it's since it's got more melodies and it's more based around traditional structures, that it's just easier to fit in with other things, and it's got those harder guitars, so then it's also easier to fit in with some metal stuff. I mean, even when I was growing up, like back in the 90s, like that, it was just easy to mesh with other bands like that all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's good for us, I guess, that we're with the genre we are in the town that we're in. Like, it makes it doable.
We've kind of oversaturated ourselves here, though. I mean, we're at that point, and people still come out. We still have big crowds, but you can tell, when you're playing the same venue 3 or 4 times in a couple of months, your friends just end up going, I'll go to the next one. So it's kind of it ends up hurting you, even though people love you here. You just kind of play for new people,
Yeah, I have a couple friends that are in some bands that replay the same venue over and over and over again, and LA is full of freaking venues, and I'm like, dude, why are you there? Like, you've been there like once a month for the last 2 years straight. Like, move on. Go somewhere else for a little bit, or at least stretch a little bit.
Yeah. See, Sacramento's not like that. Sacramento don't get me wrong, there's a number of venues, but there's only so many venues that, are almost like worth playing in some ways, and there's some venues that are just so far out of the way, no one wants to go out there. It's like, all right, I'm going to go out to this venue. Yeah, they have great sound, they have a bunch of stuff going on inside, but after the show, what are you going to do? Well, I'm in the middle of a neighborhood, and I have to travel another 10 minutes just to find another place that's actually going to still be open, so I think I'm not going to go to that, or if you're playing, like, trying to, get in at Ace of Spades, which is a Live Nation venue, which you don't get in, and then you also have to compete with the big shows coming out at Golden One Center, which is
that's what I was saying. Midtown is really. I mean, have you been to Sacramento before?
I've never been to Sacramento.
Okay, well, I mean, we're a medium-sized city. We're not huge, we're not small, but our Midtown has grown a lot, because we just opened with the Sacramento Kings, and we just opened like the state-of-the-art like new arena in Midtown, and the old arena was kind of in a farm area, so that is making our Midtown just like the life is
popping.
Oh, it's popping down there now. So definitely a place, if you're watching or listening, I would recommend to come tour to, because like
it's just getting
every
bigger.
time bands come here, there's just always like people come with open arms. Like, so
That's cool.
I hope we see venues and places like that when we're out on the road. You know?
Yeah.
So when you guys were even starting in this band, did you guys have problems getting into venues? Did they try to lean on things like social media numbers or what?
Fortunately, no. I think we had it was really easy for us to pop in because, like Ethan was saying, we were in a band before, and being in this local scene, he still had a lot of those same connections. So once it came time to try to book venues, he hit up those same people, and he was like, "Oh wait, you're doing it again? All right, yeah, we'll let you in. Cameron also knew a number of people since he you moved up here like a year or two before.
Oh, I had lived in Sacramento for a little while ago, but maybe 6 years by now. But with playing with my old band, you guys were more of like the kind of, I don't know how to describe the scene you were in, but it was, I guess, more pop punk.
Yeah, we were definitely.
And I was into more like my old bands were more on the punk side, so I knew a lot of people from the more punk, like hardcore punk kind of scene.
Yeah.
So we kind of filled in the spots of people we didn't know for booking wise. So he would help us with stuff that people I didn't have contact with, and I got some of our first few shows from people that these guys didn't know. And luckily there were some venues that sadly they're pretty much closed now. But there were some really great venues that did some good all ages shows and that were more there for supporting the artist versus just supporting the venue or the owner of the venue. And so some of our first few shows were at those places that really kind of supported us and just wanted to see us play. And
that gave us confidence too.
Yeah.
When you're treated nice in the beginning, it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, it's also nice to have those relationships. I mean, to go back on, it's cool that you have that list of people that you can trust and get into the venues like that. I've had a couple bands on, and and I've had other friends too that a lot of venues will be looking them up on social media to see if they have got the numbers, which is kind of funny because I also read an article the other day, and I'm going to try to do a video on it. This one band or this one guy had pumped up all of his social media numbers by paying people off, and then all these big venues let him in, and then when he went to show up, there was nobody there.
Was it the Threaten band?
Was it? I don't know. I haven't read the article yet, but I
think it might be the same one. He booked a whole Europe tour or something, and no one showed up because it was all fake. I was telling the guys about that before you called.
That's insane.
And we're just saying that's ridiculous. He faked a label, and he faked a manager, and he faked a whole bunch of different he made a whole news site. So
Fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
That's a lot of freaking work. You imagine maybe you could just try to be an artist.
Yeah, I'm if you put in the work to do that, why don't you just do that for your real to make a real band and
Well, seriously, at that point he could, even if he can't play music, he could just be a manager. Yeah, because he knows what it takes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's
But imagine being that band that's managed by him and then showing up to the venue and be whoa.
Where is everyone?
Our manager's full of shit. Okay.
Well, the first band that I did the podcast with was Werewolves at Hour 30, and they're in Chicago, and they said they knew a band that did that, and then when no one showed up a couple of times, the venues just blacklisted them. Nope, not doing deals with any of these guys ever again.
I would imagine so. Yeah.
So
Venues are pretty serious about that stuff too. A lot of the venues that do pre-sales and pre-sale tickets and stuff like that, they're really serious about your numbers, and so.
Have you guys done pre-sale stuff before?
What was that?
What was that?
Sorry. Have you guys done pre-sale stuff before?
Oh, that's all it is.
That's all you do?
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
That's pretty much all we do. That's pretty much the venues out here. I think
going back to what you said, the venues that are worth playing. We've opened for Red Jumpsuit Apparatus. We opened for a couple pop punk bands. What was it?
Between you and me and like Pacific and
Crazy Town
and Rome.
Yeah, Crazy
Town. Quick story. Our first go at it, because basically the way it works though is if you go into a venue like one of these couple venues and you sell a lot the first time, you'll get shows that will sell themselves, if that makes sense. So you keep getting invited back. So you're like the first sacrifice, in my experience, the first couple shows. And we got a show opening for Crazy Town. Do you remember that band? Yeah, the come my lady, come my lady. They were a one-hit wonder, right? So, that was a bad experience, but
And a good experience.
That was fun. It's a fun show.
so first off, we sold like 100 tickets, and the venue when we showed up, they were like their jaw dropped. Like, this is Crazy Town. Nobody comes to Crazy Town.
Yeah.
And we're like, you know what? That's cool. But our fans will be here. And the night was so disastrous. The Crazy Town ended up showing up and crashing into another band's van because they were high on drugs, and they were tweaking, and they showed up about an hour and a half late. But by the end of the night,
an hour and a half after their set was supposed to have started.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not an hour and a half late to check in. After their set was supposed to start at like 9.
There was a gap between us and them for
Yes.
an hour.
which couldn't have made our night any better in the sense of impressing the venue, because they turned around and like pretty much were like, you guys are amazing, because if it wasn't for us, there was probably about 10 people total there for Crazy Town the entire night, and we brought 100 plus. So.
That's one thing is we've always had faith in our live performance, and we say don't judge us till you see us live, because that's our thing. And so that first show, like, there was a ton of people. We just got lucky to have that middle spot too, between the opening band. Yeah, and I mean, we did work for it, but we had a fairly large crowd too for our first time at that venue, and we impressed a lot of people. And then by the fact of just like Crazy Town
being crazy,
looking really bad on their part, and just like being super.
If Crazy Town ever watches this, it wasn't Crazy Town as a whole. It was just more or less that one.
Yeah, that we should be more specific there. It was the singer of Crazy Town is the only one I noticed that was on one.
But if they do
the only
ever
one I
watch,
noticed,
if they do ever watch this,
one of them literally like he kept trying to take his drink and take his drink, and you just kept like, no, I'm gonna go set it over on this amp now. Oh, you're over there? Okay, no, we're gonna take that and set it over here. You don't get to drink anymore.
He's like sneaking up behind his guitarist and strangling him with the mic too, and just like
and he knocks over the drummer's drum kit too.
Yeah.
But if they do ever watch this, then we all just want to say thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Crazy
It was
Town.
a fun show. We got to play for a lot of people.
After that show, we got like another offer for a really good show at that venue.
They just kept coming.
And the thing about that venue is it's Holy Diver, and the people who own Ace of Spades, I think, are the same ones who own Holy Diver. And they're
Ace of Spades is the mecca here. Unless you're playing a huge arena show, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like
which locals never do.
The biggest pop punk band, like State Champs is coming to Ace of Spades. That's just you've made it if you're playing there on a consistent basis. If you're touring there, But we've played there. That is a very hard venue to get in because Live Nation owns it now. So they're very stingy on helping locals out. Live Nation,
But
they're very stingy.
Yeah,
on
that show helped us a lot though because we really impressed the people at Holy Diver, and they're in contact with the Ace of Spades people. Like it just kind of like put a gold star in our name.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's what you get for freaking showing up, man. A lot of times, even when I was younger, bands just wouldn't show up on time. Like, are you kidding me? We'll just push it back.
Yeah.
Like, you're not playing tonight, guys. So you guys do like you guys like pre-sale, because a lot of people that I interview are like,
no, I don't like to use that word.
No.
We're okay, so we're on a break from pre-sales right now, and it's the most amazing time of my life.
Yeah.
I'm the type of person where it makes me so mad and it's so frustrating that I want to succeed with it, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm speaking just for myself, but because I'm kind of like the social butterfly in the band. I know everyone in Sacramento, so in the scene, like I'm just connected to everybody, and that's always been my MO. It's like. There's the ongoing joke out here, like, hey, you should hire Ethan to sell your tickets for you, and but it's hard. So and I'm starting to feel that burn because we play too many times in Sacramento, and my mom's only going to buy so many tickets.
Serious. When you start begging, I'm sure that's when your fans are like,
Well, but if it means that one day, like, if we never get to leave Sacramento, but we're opening for State Champs and stuff like that. You know what? That's awesome. We get the best shows possible in Sacramento right now, and that's the best part about the
to
pre-sales.
hustle a little bit harder to get them.
Yeah, so we don't like pre-sales, but I'd say we're pretty good at them.
We appreciate them.
Yeah, we appreciate them, and we can do them pretty well for the most part. Like,
Yeah, we don't necessarily like our job, but we're just good at it.
Yeah.
You know?
We're good at that. That's actually kind of cool to actually hear. You're like, all right, we'll roll with it because a lot of people out here are just no, we're not going to do it. But there's a lot out here, and you kind of have to at some point. You kind of have to deal with it, and I understand. Sometimes at the venues, they don't want someone like this one dude that's like, yeah, look at my social media or whatever. Like, they want people that are going to be able to sell,
Yeah.
they or bars or something. Let's have some music and not piss people off,
Yeah. For all of us, it's all worth it when we get on stage and we've got a pretty good crowd there and we just get to do our thing and it feels good. Like, at least I think for everyone it can agree, but at least for me, like, when we start that set after grinding for pre-sales for maybe like 3 weeks to a month or so, it was all stressful, but it makes it all worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's also kind of worth it to save that money and get to see your favorite band for free, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You have
true.
to hustle for it,
That
but
too.
That's true.
you're basically, you get to share a stage with them and you get to make that happen.
I guess the thing I'm confident on that side of our band is if we make it out of town, and it's not going to be the same, but if we have that drive to sell the pre-sales, I think we'll have the drive for anything else that comes our way.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like you said, and I've never understood bands that. Pretty much most bands out there will complain and cry about the pre-sales and not do them, but they're playing in front of 3 guys at the hole-in-the-wall venue on the corner, but they're complaining that they're not playing big shows. Well, and I always tell people, because I actually have been approached, I've had personal messages sent to me going like, dude, you guys aren't even been bound that long. How are you opening for so-and-so? And it kind of makes me mad, but it also I'm like, seriously, man? There's one word, hustle.
Yeah.
Just do your job. Like, it doesn't matter how good we are to these venues or how we sound. If we can bring people, we're gonna get those shows. And you only have to, like I say, so good for 1 or 2 shows and sacrifice, because after that, then you kind of can choose your shows that the venues give you, because they know you're going to sell for them. And if we go and open for state champs, well, guess what? All we got to do is post it once and all of our tickets sell.
Yeah.
So that's the goal, is like to get to those size shows to where, you're...
It
sells
does work for
itself.
itself.
Because, Red Jumpsuit sold itself. We sold it.
Yeah.
We sold 103 tickets in 3 weeks for Red Jumpsuit.
And on the-
not even really working hard.
Yeah.
But back on that, we actually had to work our asses off for the red jumpsuit because we had a show, 1 week before? Was it a week before? At Ace of Spades. So we played Ace of Spades. A week later, we played like 10 blocks away.
It was 3 weeks. Yeah, it was March of last year. We sold 148 tickets. And then 3 weeks later, at a venue blocks away, we sold
Another 100.
103.
And that's another learning curve for us too, is we kind of realized that what we learned this year is that when we take those shows, you got to be smart with when you take them too, and when you plan your next shows, because the last few shows we did, besides the out-of-town ones, we realized we're like, oh, shit, we may have gotten in too deep by having a pre-sale show this month and then the next month the same thing.
Yeah.
So it's also, we kind of learned how to, or we're learning how to kind of be a little more smart about it too.
And that's where touring comes in. We can't wait to tour, because that's the one thing we don't have to do is sell the tickets. We just show up and play. And I'm sure there's going to be, I've never toured. That's one thing I've never done. I'm sure there's going to be tons of shows where there's no one there. But that's part of the game, and I have a lot of friends that have toured and said, do a couple runs, and eventually, you find yourself in a good situation and, make friends with bands that have fans in their cities too, because that's the big thing.
I would also encourage you, when you guys are touring out, or even in local stuff too, do you guys have a mailing list? Do you guys have something to sign up at the booth?
No, we actually haven't gotten that, and I've thought about doing that
Yeah, you
so
talked
much,
about that before.
but I just, one is, it sometimes can be hard to get everyone on board on the same idea, and most of the time it's just like, oh yeah, we'll get that done, and then the day of the show is like, all right, who was doing it? Well, no one, so whatever, we'll just do it next time.
If you just put a list up, if you just put a list there, or if you got the best thing that I've seen is hey, you have a thing, a roll of stickers or something like that. Be like, take a sticker, put your name on the list, and they'll come out and they'll put their name on the list. If they like you a lot, even if they don't buy merch, you put the name on the list, and you can put them into MailChimp or something else. And you can also, when you look at MailChimp, you can say, hey, send to this. It's like if you're touring through an area, you can say, hey, send only to this zip code. And then you could be like, hey, we're coming back to your town. Like, it's a lot of social media stuff that, like, I've been researching for the last, like, couple years, along with this a band's life thing, to be like, all right, I want to help these bands out. Like, I'm a producer and I'm a mixer, and it's like, these bands are just struggling so much with things like that, to where, like, I feel like a band like you guys, if you guys, like, got solid into, like, some of the social media stuff, you would be kicking ass. Like, you would just be... Your numbers are, like, popped up, and you don't have a lot of social media stuff on. I mean, like, you have some pretty good stuff, but, like, if you guys, like, dive deep into, like, what some of these other guys do, I think you guys, it would just light that fire underneath it, and all the other stuff that you're getting, all those great shows you're getting with you guys' music and with your experiences, I think that would really, really light a fire.
I think that's great.
Yeah, no, that's a brilliant idea.
Writing notes down.
That's definitely our thing that we struggle with the most is social media. Like, the stuff we have is okay.
And it's
Social media
Yeah.
is a tough game.
It's-
Like for anyone,
it is,
it's like
and-
some people are naturals, but
and
to keep
currently-
people interested is hard.
We've really been focused more on like the few things that we do know, which is more or less stuff that we use every day, which is Facebook, Instagram. He started a Twitter.
Yeah, I don't use it that much.
Yeah. So I mean, but we've seen positive, we've seen benefits from that.
Yeah.
But definitely going more in depth and getting that mailing list, being able to hit up specific people in specific areas, like you're talking about, that would be one of the best ways. Definitely the best ways to try to help us in the long term.
Especially touring would be probably smart because you might not see those people ever again. Some of them
Exactly.
unless you get connected to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll get another chance to say, like, from the stage, you could be like, hey, follow us online or whatever, and then it might just go out one ear and the other, but then you'll get another chance to say it if they write it down. And on top of it, like, I know it's a slog. Like, it's sometimes, you really want to, like, post, like, a picture every day on Instagram or something, and then, with YouTube, especially with YouTube, you'd want to like do an update with the band like once a week or a live stream or something like that. And it's a slog. If you guys get in a schedule on that, like the last two guys in the podcast that I'm like, they're a duo and they're like this pop duo that they do, and they're hilarious and they're awesome, but like they are like into social media, and they have I can't remember how many thousand, they have a few thousand followers or subscribers I think on YouTube, and I mean they're living out here on it. They don't have second jobs. So I mean I feel like if you guys really got into that, I think pop punk in general, just I'm going through these lists of just bands around the area, and I'm like, I got an Excel spreadsheet being like, all right, here, do they have a Facebook page? Do they have this page? How many followers? Are they engaging? And I'm like, just going through this stuff, and I'm looking, and it's just kind of like over and over and over again. Well, like I say, you guys are doing a pretty good job. Some of these bands they just barely have it up. Like, that's it. I might have a Facebook page. They don't post anything. So I feel like if people really got in on that stuff, they could probably do a lot better than just their area,
Yeah.
Totally.
It's cool.
We're learning a lot here.
Yeah, no, seriously.
We're gonna go to class once a week with Josh.
No, that's gonna be part of my thing. I'm gonna do some videos later or something like that about some of that stuff, but not right now. It's too small, like I said. Who takes care of like the managerial aspects of the band? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Mostly.
Yeah.
That's
And
cool.
it's hard because I work 40 hours a week and
Yes.
I'm married and but I do enjoy it. It's like I said, it's when I get frustrated, I get focused because I want to,
And he also becomes a pain in the ass.
Don't we all?
But
Which is good.
there's so many things I don't know though. I'm the kind of person where I'm like, I could do it all if I knew it. I'd be really good I'd be so good at being a manager or something if I knew more, if that makes sense. Because what I do know, I'm very, I'm aggressive, but I think
You do it well.
I do it well. But other than that, Cameron's probably secondary. Like,
Yeah.
he's my little assistant.
We both kind of like, because we kind of, it's mostly you now, but with like booking and stuff starting out, we
started
kind of
more,
had a
yeah.
very similar, amount of time we would both book. And I don't know,
Which
maybe
became a little stressful because you would book something, and
Yeah,
then you'd get
yeah.
another offer, and be like, oh wait, now we got 2 shows in the same week.
I don't know,
Call.
maybe it's just because I'm like the second most anal in the band. I wouldn't say I am though, but if I'm labeled as the second in command or whatever, then I'm like, I guess I am. I don't know. I don't really think of that we all kind of pitch in, so I don't think that there's one single person.
I think we have a pretty good band democracy. As far as ideas go, it's something we'll go in our like group chat. And we'll all kind of vote, or we're all going to be like, no, that sucks. What about this? And
Chris and Galen are probably and Jeff, they're probably like the technical ones when it especially you two. They'll Galen will put together our promo videos and he'll film all that. Galen does a lot of behind the scenes work that he's the lineman on the football field. He's out there blocking for me, but no one gives him praise because I'm the quarterback.
He's the one who films our stupid little promo videos or. So we have a lot more going on behind the scenes, I guess.
That's cool.
Other members.
They look nice. I mean, they don't look bad at all. They look pretty professional. So, thumbs up to you. I'll just say
that's all done with some lack of bit programming.
It's literally just a free app that I downloaded off the App Store in my iPhone.
You got some skills for working with nothing, man. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I survive on the most minimal thing in the possible world.
Seriously, I mean, split stuff up. I've Galen do once a week YouTube stuff, or do a live stream and then do a small little funny video or a cover song or something just to throw crap out there to keep people interested every once in a while. Do that. Do you also do graphic design and stuff?
For graphic design, that's been more or less him and I.
Yeah, we kind of work on that stuff together. And just throw ideas at each other.
And then we'll reach out to different artists that we know, and sometimes we'll have them work something up, or sometimes one of us will work something up, and then send it over to them to basically do the finalized stuff. And
as far as I'd say pretty much when it comes to design and stuff like that, we'll pretty much all throw our ideas into the chat with whatever we want, what we think we should be going with, logo-wise or font-wise or something like that. Then we'll all pretty much narrow it down by how much everyone else hates it or doesn't hate it. And then,
that can cause a lot of snags, though, because 5 people arguing is not easy.
Especially when everyone's fighting I love the way you put our name right there. Yeah, but the face of that person right there looks retarded. Yeah. Let's go ahead and do this face instead. But that name doesn't look good. That name looks terrible.
I think that's the main thing that we do argue about is our art and that stuff that we put out to social media. It's always somebody has a problem with a picture or a logo or a video or font or something.
So then 2 years later, once we finally decide on something, then these guys will be like, oh, I know this person who does design. Let's hit them up to make our design.
Yeah, well, it might be about 2 years until we decide what logo to send you for this video.
That's awesome. That's actually kind of crazy that a lot of people would argue more over the art. I listened to a podcast last week where they talked about that, where there's a graphic designer who talked about giving bands art, and he's like, I don't know why we just argue over everything back and forth. And it's well, you're talking with 5 people. You're trying to get something that the 5 people want. That's gonna be hard. I mean, trying to find I have a graphic designer friend where he's making jokes all the time, or someone's just being picky about something. Imagine 5 people being picky about something, That's got to be hard. So kudos to you guys.
Yeah, we've had a lot of healthy talks about that, and it's gotten easier, but it's still natural for us to argue,
And it still feels like pulling teeth to try to make that final decision on.
And a lot of stuff's very minor,
It's always the tiniest little thing.
If you saw some of the stuff in our group chat that we got mad about or argued about design-wise, it's so stupid.
Nice.
So right now, some of the biggest things that we do is we argue less about.
Oh yeah, the big decisions are easiest to make.
The easiest ones to make. It's do you guys want to play this really big show, or when's our release date? But when it's something tiny, how should we word this? Or it's
we actually have to think about it for a while.
Yep.
So what do you guys do for day jobs?
Start from him.
Start from me. I have the longest one. I work for a family-owned pet store, and I am the events coordinator and marketing assistant. So I work in the marketing department. I basically work right below our head of marketing, and I'm part secretary / event planner / the person who proofs all the ads and helps create some of the ads and helps create some of the emails that goes out. I run all the sales that are going on in the store. I run the donations, so whenever we're donating stuff to different people or different charities or different organizations, I head all of that. So I have a lot of background in planning all that kind of stuff. And I know a crap ton about animals and pets because I was in the stores before that.
Jeff, that wasn't a lot. You made that a lot.
Yeah. It is a lot. It is a lot. And then, we're going to get to you. What's it going to be?
Literally all he is secretary.
Is it easy to get shows off?
What?
Does it conflict with the shows or anything?
Not really, because most of the shows are in the evening, and my job's 9 to 5.
Nice.
So I'll hop off work and then head straight to a show to load in.
Nice.
Nice. Chris?
I work from home. I basically just sell advertising for 24-hour fitness. I just do cold calls all day in my boxers.
Nice.
It's pretty chill. Yeah.
Is that something that you can just do like whenever you feel like it?
Oh, what was that?
Is that something you can just do whenever you feel like it?
It kind of, basically, but it's because I'm good at it. But if I took it more seriously, I'd make more money. So it's kind of like when I need money, but also at the same time, it's like if I'm consistent, if I'm consistent with it,
He keeps talking about all this money he could make, and he doesn't. He can make for the band, you know.
But yeah, I mean, pretty much I work when I want, and then that goes on hold when I do band stuff. So
That's cool.
It's every week.
Yeah.
So.
That sounds kind of like almost like a gig economy kind of thing, to where like a Postmates or like almost like an Uber kind of thing, where you can be like, I can just start and stop whenever I want, with the exception of guessing.
I mean, it's like imagine being that, but you're like the regional manager of an area. So I kind of do it for like every single gym in this area, and so I never run out of people to call. I'm the only person doing it up here, so I'm never gonna run out of work. And as long as I pace myself, I can. Yeah.
Chris?
So me and also Galen too, we both work at a company called Tori Hanzo Shears.
Yeah.
It's like in the hair industry, we sell the stylus, the scissors that they use, which are like really fucking high end. Like some of our shears are like thousands of dollars.
Dang,
and
they like laser cut.
Yeah, and so I work in the customer service department. He's down in the shipping department, and so we get lunch every now and then. And
Lunch day.
9 to 5.
besties.
Yeah, it's
dating.
pretty chill.
Don't tell their girlfriends.
It's true. They already know.
I guess you just spoke to him.
A standard office job, 9 to 5.
And I cut meat. I'm a butcher.
Nice.
Yes.
But luckily, we all.
Well, no, I wouldn't say butcher. That's.
Yeah, you're not a butcher.
I'm not a butcher. I'm a meat cutter because I don't kill animals.
Ah.
I just cut them up after they die.
So metal. But luckily, all our jobs pretty much like we can get off by the time we need to go to a show.
Mm-hmm.
So like no one really works nights. To be honest, so that's good.
The only thing a lot of us lose is sleep when it's showtime. Like I work at 5, 6 in the morning, so a show ends at midnight, and you suck it up, and you go to work the next day. It's life, you know.
That's
I
nice.
used to have a job that clashed.
Oh yeah,
Got rid of that.
Yeah, that's right. All those days.
One of the bands I did an interview for, one of the guys was like a firefighter, and so he was like 24 on and 48 off. So like if he had a show right before the 24 on, like he had to stay awake for like 36 hours or whatever.
Jeez,
That sounds terrible.
yeah, that's crazy.
That sounds horrible.
He said he loved
Or
it.
complaining about all our shit.
I had a friend in college who he was going to school for nursing, so we could do the whole 3 days or 4 days on, 3 days off thing for music, just because that works out really well, where you just can like actually work on your art because you get full days off.
Mm-hmm. I was on I was listening to a podcast a couple weeks ago where there was a guy, and now he's like a big writer for some, I don't know if it's country or what it was, but he did the same thing. He was like a nurse, and he would be like 2 days on, 3 days off, so he could do that. And it was kind of cool. Like, oh, that'd be a good idea, and you make quite a bit of money. Then again, though, like I don't know if you're on 24 hours, like that's oof. I don't know. I'd feel.
Yeah, no, it sounds miserable to have to do. I mean, you probably get nap breaks.
Oh,
Your lunch break is probably actually just a nap break.
Yeah.
I'd be scared I'd just sleep through everything. Someone's dying in the corner. Like, Josh won't wake up.
That's too much responsibility.
So you guys, do you guys have, was it Distrokid or some streaming stuff like that?
Yeah, so I set that up for us. It's all through Distrokid.
Okay. I noticed a lot of bands have Distrokid. I feel like it's like probably the cheapest,
It's
easiest.
It's a good value. I mean, I think we have the $20 membership, and we've made like more than that back. So
Yeah.
we made like almost 4 times that back. So
Nice.
it's kind of nice.
Pay for itself.
Yeah, basically.
You guys get on any playlists at all?
We've been reaching out to a couple of different people. There's a couple of Facebook groups that we're in that we always kind of throw our songs up, and anyone's like building a playlist or anything like that. Our manager is supposed to get us on alternative press playlist, which should be pretty big for us. And there's a couple different sites that have found us and just been like, hey, can we put your song on here? And we're just like, hell yeah, why not?
Serious. As for the spending money and driving and going to shows and whatnot, do you guys treat yourself kind of like as a business? Do you guys keep all those things and take it off on taxes?
No.
No?
No, we're really horrible about that part. All travel expenses come out of our own pockets.
Yeah.
And then anything that we make goes basically back into funding more stuff for the band. So if we went to a show and made $100, that's $100 we're putting towards a release. That's $100 we're putting towards advertising. That's $100 we're putting back towards merch. Anywhere we go and anything that we do really comes out of pocket.
Yeah. I'd encourage you guys to, like, especially with for driving to shows and things and paying gas. I mean, I guess that's in the driving with the gas, but and purchasing things to like keep track of that stuff, because you'd actually probably write that stuff off on your taxes and make a little bit back.
Yeah, I've heard about that. I've thought about doing it, but it's hard enough to get us to do one thing, let alone trying to get us all to do that.
Yeah, I mean, also taxes are kind of like, for some odd reason, they're kind of scary for people too, because you're like, I don't want to be, getting a IRS knocking on my door
At the end of the year.
Yeah, exactly. How about like significant others and stuff? I always ask like how you guys deal. Like, since you're married, I've been married and I got like 3 kids, so like I know how hard it is to like actually get out and do stuff like in the area. How is it with you guys?
I actually met my wife through the old band at a show. Our old bassist was her cousin, so she's been involved in the music with me since day one, and we don't have any children, which makes it a lot easier, but she's super supportive, man.
Awesome, that's great.
She's ready for us to tour. She's ready for all that, which is awesome to have.
That's good.
I think we're all pretty lucky. I think all of our girlfriends are really supportive. Most of our girlfriends go to like almost every show. Gail's girlfriend lives out of town, so she can't make it to every show, but the ones when like it's in her area, or if she's up here, she definitely goes to. So I think all of our girlfriends are really, really supportive.
Oh yeah, they're all equal. Like, I feel like they're all pretty equal.
Because they always help out too. They're always
Yeah.
helping us, load in or like do merch stuff if we can't get the merch table. So we're pretty lucky on that aspect too.
Always contributing ideas too.
Yeah.
When they like hear something they don't like, or they're like, hey, you guys should try this. They're definitely like the
outside influence.
Yeah, outside influence.
Especially since and I'm sure you know too, we've seen it from its inception, so we've heard this 1,000 times, and now we're picking over these little details, and then someone who's never heard it before or has heard it 5 times, they're like, oh yeah, but why don't you just change this instead? And we're just like,
why don't we do that?
Why? That's a brilliant. Hey guys, I got a great idea.
Exactly. My wife will do that too. Like, however, I usually annoy her with like tuning vocals or something like that. But I'll be mixing a song for like 6 hours, and at the end, I'm like, okay, like what? Am I just crazy? Does it sound like crap like to you, or does it sound like good? And so you might give some constructive criticism, or she might just be like, no, it sounds great. You just have been doing it for 6 hours, and now, like, okay, good. Thank you. My ears are torn.
And I don't know about Jeff's and Galen's girlfriends, but I can speak for the 3 of us when I say that, like, we're lucky because, his wife and our girlfriends, we're all kind of like former / current emo kids. Like, so they like the similar music, and they went to shows or still go to shows.
Yeah.
So like it's kind of already familiar to them. stuff we do.
That's cool.
I was like a little naughty girl.
My girlfriend was a rocker in high school, and then grew up and heard EDM, and then became a raver. And then met me, and I'm not a raver.
My girl's kind of like that too, but she'll like jump up on stage and like sing with Ethan and interact.
Yeah, 'cause you guys met at a neck deep show.
Yeah, we met at a neck deep show. I think we were just in the crowd and we locked eyes, and it was just this beautiful moment. I was like, oh my god, how am I gonna get her number? And then I went to go tie my shoe, and her friend was trying to talk to me. And I look behind me, and there's this like beautiful, beautiful, stunning girl, and she's like holding the light, and her friend's asking me for my number. I'm like, can I have hers? Like,
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's been 2 years.
Awesome. How about family and stuff? Like, do you guys have any fun stories about family? Being like, hey, what are you guys doing? Are you still in that band kind of thing?
My mom doesn't like the mosh pit.
my dad is living through me. Like, I went to my first concert when I was like 4 or 5 years old. It was Def Leppard, and I've seen like every 80s and 70s band out there, and like just that's what I grew up on. And I think he's very outgoing, and that's kind of what he helped me with my personality and opening up, because I'm kind of that's my I'm a front man. Like, that's what I always tell. Like, I'm improving as a singer, but I'll go toe-to-toe with anyone as a front man, and working a crowd. That is my biggest skill, and I learned that from him. But he just gives me the puppy eyes every show. Like, please call me up on stage.
He's like our biggest fan.
He actually gives really good advice to all of us.
Yeah, he does.
And he actually hands draws.
He hand draws tees, too, for us.
He's made all of us t-shirts. It's pretty cool.
He's still working on mine, I think.
Yeah, mine too.
And then your parents...
my parents just sent out to my whole family the 2 music videos I put out after I told her when I went home this last weekend. I told my mom, I was like, I thought you sent those out to everyone already. Like, that one came out like months ago. And she's like, oh, I forgot, sorry. My parents are pretty old. They're getting up there. So, and like, I feel like just my background, they don't really understand the whole music thing. Like, so I don't really have a musical family. But
his dad.
My dad actually.
His dad is the bronze god.
Kind of looks like Fabio, like imagine Fabio.
His dad looks like Fabio. He's got the perfect tan, and he lives and surfs in Hawaii. So basically, he's 10 times cooler than Chris.
My parents did the whole retire in Hawaii thing, so they moved over there. My dad's actually in a band currently, and like writing music on ukulele for that band. So he's definitely one of my idols. But they'll like and share and comment on everything we post, so they're really supportive.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'm glad that they're all supportive of that. Like, I've heard some nightmare stuff about like, oh, my dad. Like, even my parents are the same way. They were like, they love me, but they're like, when are you coming back home? Like, what's going on? Like, we're doing this for real, Dad. It's been 10 years. But that's awesome.
That is. He's a little more resistant, but then we dropped a High Street music video. It's like, okay, I can get behind this. This looks like the real deal.
You're not just out there smoking weed, not doing anything.
Yeah.
So, like, you guys just released an album in September, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How did that go? What was the process for that?
A lot of pulling out hair, fighting over the small details.
An extensive process. We thought we were ready.
Did you guys record it
It's kind of
yourself?
one of those things where you look back after all the pulling out of hair and you go, man, that was easy. We could have just released it. It would have been fine.
Yeah.
But the artwork and promoting it, and that's the thing. Like, we need to learn so much more about the next release. Needs to have so much more thought behind the promoting, and
we kind of all like. It took a long time to get out. I think we had the EP for maybe like a month or a month and a half before we put it out, because we were all trying to plan this perfect release. We were like, we need to have these shirts made by then. We need to have this many different promo videos.
We didn't have it. It wasn't ready. It was a week.
We had it.
Nothing was ready.
We had the album in its entirety for 1 week before we actually released it.
But to be honest, we announced the date, which we should have never done, before it was finished recording, and there was snags that happened.
Yeah.
So we got it done before the release, but it was really, it It was last second release.
Yeah. Set up a date.
I forgot about
And
that.
then, and I know because we didn't know if we were gonna be able to actually reach the date, we started kind of pulling what we were wanting to do for advertising wise, because we were like, we don't want to hype it up and then be like, oh, by the way, it's late, we can't actually drop it today. We'll talk to you again sometime.
And that's the thing about, I've noticed people are on social media lose interest so fast in anything, and it's crazy how, like, just when you're scrolling Facebook or something, if it's not, doesn't catch your eye in a second, people just, they're like, next. So it's like, that's the part that I want us to get better at, is like catching the eye right off the bat, you know?
Yeah, we didn't want to be another. I think this is a meme that only band people will understand, but we didn't want to be another one of those local bands that just post on their page, hey guys, big things coming soon, check back next week.
Yeah.
You know, that's like, you know, and we have a lot of band friends too who kind of like make fun of that whole, not make fun because, you know, we all respect, you know, everyone's different hustle, but it's, you know, we didn't want to just be, you know, like doing that kind of stuff, and we wanted to have a well thought out release, which we did not at all.
I think it's that, what's that law where it's like, if you give a time frame to something, it's going to take at least that time frame to give it done. It's some kind of law, like, of whatever, that, like, if you say I'm going to get this done in 10 days and it only takes like 2 hours to do, you're going to wait till the day before to get it done. That's just the way that general people do. So even if it's something more like complicated than that, like once you get toward the like last quarter of that, you're like, crap, I got to get this done now. And then you get it done, but you're like screaming trying to get it done, put it in.
Yeah.
That was this release.
I'd say for the most part, though, like, we ordered some things, like, that weren't going to get there in time, and they got here in time, like, in the nick of time. Like, the day of the show, I think we got the album, like, CD covers, like, all completed, all, like, put together.
Oh, yeah, it was.
Yeah.
We also did some rework of, like, rewriting in the studio, and during that process, I think that actually helped us fine-tune our songs into really what they became, because Doesn't Matter that was a tough one, but it came out to be one of the best songs in my opinion, off the EP, and we all had a moment of just like, can we pull this song off? Like at one point during that song.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like an accomplishment to see some of these tracks come to life, just because it's like, can we do this?
we kind of have suffered from the getting. We wrote these songs. We've been writing these songs, but we're kind of getting more talented as we go. So we look back at our other songs, and the thing about pop punk, and we beat ourselves up sometimes, but beauty of pop punk is it can be super simple and it can be complex. It's just like you want all of it, you know, like that. And that's what I've always when I've looked at pop punk, the biggest pop punk songs of all time are usually the simplest. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's like having those songs are not bad, but when you, as a musician, you know, you almost want to impress your musician friends. You know, it's inevitable to want to like. Do something new or do something special. So
that, and I mean, when you play the same song as much as you play it as a band, when you write a new song, you're like, wow, this is different. And you kind of get sidetracked by that, where different sounds better to you, but you can't really tell how your fans are going to feel about it.
Yeah, it's like it's automatically better because it's new.
Because it's a different thing. It's something.
It's just something that's new. It feels better. Yeah, I mean, you feel like oh, you're progressing as an artist. You still want to hold on to that older stuff, but yeah, I can understand where you're going with that. Do you guys record yourselves, or do you guys have other people like record you?
So we owe a lot to our recording engineer. His name's Henry, and his studio is called Anxious and Loud. He was from Michigan originally, but moved to Sacramento a couple years ago.
And he's out of Elk Grove, California.
Yeah, we owe a lot to him because he helped us rewrite a lot of the parts on this EP, and he pretty much like made a lot of the songs what they are. That if we just self-recorded, probably turn out so bad. Like,
it would have been,
we are kind of we demoed out.
Also, and he's probably the best I've ever met that we've worked with to reel us in because of the nitpicking. Like even in recording, we were having a lot of nitpicking, but he was very good at being that outsider, but also had say in what was happening and kind of made the one person that really didn't like something see what the other three people that liked it, saw in it. But yeah, like you said, he was amazing. Man.
It was nice because he offered a little bit of like, I wouldn't, what's the word, like producing work in the sense of he'd offer ideas for parts that he thought might go well, but he wasn't trying to rewrite stuff for us. So he would give us like some influence on some parts, and ultimately he wanted us to make sure we knew it was all up to us. So he never made us feel like we had to change a part, or if something wasn't working, like have to do it his way. So it was really nice that we all just felt like really supported.
Yeah, and it was actually really nice working with someone who was also a drummer. So it wasn't just, all right, you go in, you do your thing, okay, you're done. Now I'm going to spend 5 hours on one person, and you only got like an hour because I don't know really what you're doing. Just, you're on time. Good job.
No, he did a pretty good job of that with all of us. Where he gave us a lot of time in the studio to be like, hey, like, we're going to get this right. We're going to get the best take that we can, and we're going to get the most solid recording before we send this off to get mastered. So none of us really felt rushed. Like we kind of feel like we were rushing ourselves because we did spend a lot of time just like perfecting our parts, but like in the long run, it like really paid off.
Yeah,
That's good. Did you guys do any demos beforehand?
Oh,
We tried.
Well, no, I mean, I would say Secrets and Lies is kind of in a way, is our demo.
Yeah, but not for this EP.
Yeah.
For
Not for the EP.
We had like 2 days of pre-production where we went to his house and we played the songs live for him so he could hear the parts, and he would take notes while we played them, and so he could be familiar with what we were playing. But we didn't have anything to send him over to him.
Yeah, which is something that we, because of Galen's ability to record.
I have an audio engineer degree.
Yeah, he has an audio engineer
He's
degree,
a
so
production recording artist.
he lacks the proper equipment, but has the knowledge. If that makes sense. So that's something that we can really make some
channels.
Yeah, we can make our own demos and hear our flaws before we go see Henry and have to have him do it. So that's the biggest lesson we learned there.
Yeah, I always encourage bands like make sure see if you can demo yourself, like make sure you're demoing your stuff, because it kills a lot of that like little nitpicky stuff in the middle, and then like you can have more time to, if for some odd reason like this feels a little funny here, let's see if we can try something different. You have that time to try something different, because if not, you're kind of sucking a lot of time out of whoever's doing it, because they want it to sound great. And like, okay, wait a minute, now these guys are like messing around, seeing what they like. They don't know what they want.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest example for us on this album is Just Breathe, because for us, when we listen to it on the album, it's so slow. It's so slow. And when we were in the studio, it sounded right. Like this, like I was playing it, I'm like, this seems off, but maybe that's because of it's the first song we're doing. I don't have anything going at all. And then we listened to it and we're like, oh my gosh, once it's all done, it's so slow, because live we just play it so much faster.
We kick off with that.
Yeah.
But it's
Because I always start the song.
But if you take a step back and look at it from an outsider, it doesn't sound
No, it doesn't.
slow.
It doesn't sound slow to everyone
us.
else, but it just sounds slow to us because of we're used to that being the tempo. The tempo's that on the album. So
I'm sure if you're playing live, you guys are getting some blood flowing through you. You probably can just play it faster anyway.
That's usually our opening track.
2 minutes.
When we play a set, that's usually what we've been opening with so far too. So it's like the song that gets you hyped. So when we were recording it, we're like, this feels so weird. But
I've had those before. I remember one time I accidentally recorded something at like a funny sample rate. It was the wrong sample rate, and when I played it back faster. And the band was like, "Oh man, this sounds so much better. We should have recorded this fast." But it was just we went back to the old one. But and then afterwards they were like, "Oh, it should have been faster." I'm like, sorry. So many learning things, that was probably like 8 years ago. But hold on a second. So what? So you guys got it pressed for CDs. Did you get anything else? Like I hear a lot of punk bands that are doing like cassettes now.
No.
We did
Richie
talk
broke.
about that. It did come up.
Yeah, we got new shirts for to release at the same time as because we put the EP out on an EP release show when we played with the Spill Canvas. So we're like, we have to make sure we have new shirts for this show because we've had the same fucking shirts since 2017. So we had new shirts. We had little sticker packs that we made, and that was about it. We're kind of
one thing he did which is just fun functionally they functionally work, but they fall off. But he got a bunch of little lighters, and one of the stickers that we have is perfect, so it fits all the way around. So we made a bunch of lighters.
And thanks for telling everyone how those lighters are made.
Our lighters are great.
They'll last forever.
Well, there goes those lighters.
Light anything on fire.
Can't charge $2 anymore for them.
Now we're going to charge a quarter.
He was just talking about the prototype. The rest of them we ordered.
That's
a lot better quality.
Disclaimer,
Actually, the other thing that I ended up doing...
We're too honest, man. We gotta be,
Perfect Score flamethrowers coming next.
Perfect Score, not a flamethrower.
Not a flamethrower, so we can ship worldwide.
One of the things that I actually went out and did for the merch booth, it's not anything anyone can buy, just to make it look nice, because we were tired of just laying out our stuff onto just the table and being like, all right, there we go. We had some promo kits that came into my company, and we used some of the stuff and then threw away some of the stuff, and I was looking at it, I'm like, oh, that's dope. And it was basically just little mats that had wood on them, so now our table looks like a wood grain table. And I also did the squares for the shirts. We also ended up getting light boxes.
Oh, yeah, this is one thing it's probably a complete coincidence, but I'm only bringing it up because I only started noticing it after we started doing it. Is at the merch booth we would have, I went to Target and bought those little marquee kind of light boxes that we can spell our name and spell merch prices and stuff. It's just 100% complete coincidence, I'm sure. But I just started seeing a lot of local bands do it too, and I'm like, okay, cool. They're doing it now.
We set a trend.
But I'm sure.
I started it.
Yeah.
He started.
We actually learned it.
No, that's actually really cool. I would have never thought about that. But that's really cool. I always when I go to see a band and I'll see they'll just have a T-shirt on a thing. And I'm like, no, it just doesn't look nice. Make it look nice.
Yeah.
I'd say as far as,
and we've also been tying in. We have a couple of light up props that we'll take and we'll have on stage. So on stage they're lit up, but you don't really see them because of all the lights. But afterwards we're able to take those and just take them straight over to the merch booth and set it up. So anyone who was like, oh, which one was it? Oh wait, I remember that was on stage. Now it's over here. Okay, that must be the right thing too. Just more stuff to have people remember.
It's also pretty thematic, our whole kind of summer vibe. We have little flamingos that kind of go with it, so it's kind of we just have this vibe on and off stage when we're at shows.
This is kind of less of a merch kind of thing and more of just a band in general kind of thing. But we're definitely that band that we pretty much go for all out when we want to play live. We want to be remembered. We want people to see us and think we played a great set. We have we do use the riser boxes and stuff on stage, if it calls for it. If we're playing a floor, we don't use them, so we'll use that. And then we'll we recently started doing pool noodles and inflatables and beach balls and stuff that we'll throw if the crowd's big enough, because you don't want to throw out beach balls to 5 people. But
it's a nice night.
A lot of and I feel there's a lot of bands who have that kind of ethic that it's any kind of gimmick on stage when you're a local band is it's foolish and looks stupid, and we're we don't really care about that. We just want people to have fun and
all I care about is crowd interaction.
And I don't think that we do it in any gimmicky way.
I agree.
It's not something that we're focusing on. It's not
oh
hey look, I've got a beach ball. Who wants a beach ball? No, it's all right. Ethan has a vocal break in the song, so
he just kicks it out and hits
and just starts throwing it out.
If it feels right and people are having fun, we'll just we'll throw some stuff out. So, but I feel that kind of started around the same time as we put the EP out, just because it was coincidence. We wanted to have the summer
theme, so we got
the summer inflatables with our our EP to match the theme. And now it's kind of oh, if the crowd's big enough, throw noodles out.
We'll send them
nice. Yeah.
Noodles. I've seen those was it the wacky inflatable flailing arm guy before.
And I've seen that. I know that a couple bands, more professional bands, start doing that. I think State Champs did that at that Warped Tour, and I was listening to a podcast with someone else in one of the bands. They would bring those out too.
I would actually be okay with doing a show where we'd have to be big enough, but doing a show where we all just have one as our stand-in, and we just press play on a CD, and then you just have those guys on stage just moving around the entire music
video editors.
Acting like it.
That's
That's
It'd be cool to have a
brilliant.
couple of those in like the pit just for moshing, you know? Those people are making a wall of death, and you just have that one big guy who's in the middle, but it's you just have to stand in. He's an inflatable.
Actually, if you put a wig on one of those, you wouldn't be able to. You wouldn't be able to tell it wasn't me.
That's one other thing that I think we do. We do a pretty good job of is when we're done playing, we still all have like a ton of energy, and normally we go like pretty hard for the other bands too. Just to like we're at a show, we show them like how to act at a show sometimes, because not everybody who goes out to these shows will like mosh or like jump around or like interact with the band as they're playing. Some people will just sit in the back, and that's why do that. You're at a show.
Or the same thing when you're on stage too. Like, it just makes me kind of bummed when you go to a show and there's a band that you get the feeling while they're playing that they just feel like a lot of bands try to act too cool and don't interact with the crowd or just want to stand there and because that's like their thing to be tough or whatever. And we always just try to have fun and smile at everyone and make sure everyone's like, moving around, having a good time. Like, we don't want to, be one of those bands on stage is like, we're cool. You guys move around, we're too cool, kind of thing. Like,
and it's been my ethos from the very beginning as far as the show goes. I was talking to a guy, one of Ethan and I's friends actually Zach was recording our old band for some stuff, and we were having like a little break and we were chatting, and he told me something that just like stuck with me, and it's been the thing that I've like always harped on a lot, especially in the beginning. Not so much now because we've got it like pretty much under control, but it was people don't go out to your shows to listen to your music; they go out to your shows to see you perform. So I go and I want us to be a band that performs for them, plays our music, and hopefully they like it. But I want them to look at us and watch us and be like, oh wow, that was memorable. I remember when they did that. It always kills me when I go to a show and the entire band is standing there. You have a singer who is doing nothing but singing and he's just stuck right there in front of the mic. Like, you can move, man. Like, you don't have to just stand right in that one spot.
that ends up hurting them because they might sound amazing, but that's when you go get a drink at the bar because it's like.
Yeah, because I can feel.
I'll just listen to it. I'll just listen to it. I don't need to watch it. Never want to be that band.
And especially going to bigger shows. That's really also the thing that I've caught on is most of the bands that you go out and see, they are performers. You see them perform, and even some of the most talented, like instrumentally bands are still performers. I went and I caught Polyphia not too long ago, and they were still moving around like crazy. And I'm like, oh my god, how are you playing that kind of stuff while moving, tiny moving parts.
Tiny moving parts is insane. Like he's singing and tapping and
jumping around doing backflips.
And doing backflips and he's my favorite.
It's definitely part of entertainment. I don't know if you've seen that. I'm sure you have, like that old Mark Hoppus video where he's like trying to talk to bass players. It's like, even because you can play your song while you're on your phone, don't do it.
Everybody, the bass jump.
It's great. So, like, you guys, like I said before, you guys seem to be doing pretty well for like just starting last year, basically for on Spotify and Facebook. Have you had any interest or offers from like indie labels or anything?
We got that one, right?
Yeah.
There was that one metal label.
Yeah, it was a metal label.
I forgot about that.
But that's honestly this manager we have now. No, not really. But this manager we have now, that's kind of why we are working with him. It's just his entire thing is just to get us job interviews in a sense, like because he sees what things that you've noticed and we believe in ourselves, and it's just time. Again, we haven't. I feel like that has worked the same as our do-it-yourself kind of thing, where we've really built the base of our band, like from the ground up. And so when it's time to be approached, we are more tighter of a unit, not just as friends, but also as musicians, and we can handle that kind of stuff and know what we want to get ourselves into a little easier. But that's all. I think that to answer your question, that hopefully that's to come soon. Yeah.
Awesome. So last question. Like, is there any like crazy stories from shows or anything you guys?
The Crazy Town.
Remember?
Crazy Town.
Crazy Town.
We've had some people, dislocate some stuff or break some stuff in our mosh pits. I think that's pretty crazy.
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
nothing like Did you hear about the water parks thing the other day?
No.
They had like $18,000 in cash, and their merch guy was
that was them?
had stolen it.
Oh, I read about that yesterday. Yeah, I thought it was for some reason. I don't know why I thought it was Bless the Fall that happened to, but if that was water,
I think it was water parks.
Yeah, I saw something. Yeah, like something on Twitter that guy posted about bad omens, and a lot of people were commenting like, "Oh, are you tweeting this from jail or something?" Yeah, and I'm like, "Oh, that's just a bad move." Like,
It's funny, like how much like pop punk news I've heard in the last week or two. Like, what the heck? Why is this making?
I don't know. I think some of the funniest. I don't know if there's really too many stories going on like on stage or anything like that, but it's usually leading up to it, like the setting up and stuff like that. I have a really, really bad habit of forgetting one or two items.
Yep.
Almost every time.
He's always asked.
The most important, smallest item.
We've been lucky and have worked with the kindest drummers in the industry, or they just felt that bad for Jeff because he's always borrowing things from people.
Yeah. I mean, which is nice, Like I totally appreciate it. I'm totally nice, and I've been told no before. The one time that I got told no, which I think was, I actually was kind of mad at this guy. So it was a set. They were playing right before me, and this dude was big, like a couple 100 pounds big dude. And I was like, "Hey man, I forgot my phone. Can I borrow it for the set? I'm on right after you. Just leave it up there, and I'll give it to you." And he looked at me, looked back at his drum set, and was like, "I don't know, man. I'm kind of big, and that's it's kind of hard to get something that can support me." And I'm like, "Dude, I'm like a third your size. I'm not gonna break your throne." But I was like, "Oh no, dude, totally get it. And so I had to play with a chair that the venue had, which sucked so much.
What's that?
That was at Colony. That was at Colony. That was one of our earlier shows. And then we went out of town. We played a show in Modesto. Was it Modesto? And we had to pick him up, and I thought that I didn't know he had his gear with him. I thought he had given his gear to one of those guys, and he was just going to roll with us. So he shows up with all of his gear. I had my drum set loaded in my car, and I'm like, okay. So I start taking stuff out, repositioning, getting everything set up. And when I was putting everything back in, I forgot my entire cymbal bag. So I showed up. So we were the third band to play that night, and it was a house party, and so basically it was load in, load out. The next full kit goes in, full kit goes out. So everything stayed in my car, so I didn't realize this until we were about to play, and I don't have my cymbals at all. So I have to go find a band that I don't even know. I just met them that night. I'm like, "Hey, can I borrow your cymbals?" And he's like, "Well, what do you need?" And I'm like, "All of them." Everything.
Those are the nicest guys. And those guys are so kind. They're some really good dudes.
Yeah.
We got lucky. Shout out to I think it was either Jamie or Chris from Between You and Me, the drummer. He let his cymbal.
Well, no, it was it was the snare stand. I forgot my arm. I had my entire kit, but I forgot to shit.
All this
Everything at least once.
Yeah.
Wait.
Our first show in our old band, I forgot my hi-hat stand.
Hey, let's just forget Jeff when we tour. We'll just forget Jeff.
Backtrack,
Oh
Jeff.
shit, we forgot our drummer. Oh no.
I'm waiting for that. We're gonna be in freaking another state and I forgot my entire kit.
It's probably gonna happen. Like you guys are gonna forget me at like a rest stop because I'm going to go in and get snacks or something.
I actually do have a great story from one of our weirdest shows. Actually, I just remembered. So we went to the one time we played San Francisco.
That's the story.
I don't know who. So Ethan was in contact with the guy that booked the show, and so none of us really knew him. We get to the venue. And we were all really confused because the venue was really tiny, probably the size of this room that we're in, which is no problem. But so we get there and there's like a whole bunch of like metal dudes outside. Like there's you can tell the difference between metal guys. Like there's the hardcore dudes,
like melodic death.
There was hardcore dudes, like
super heavy
black metal dudes with the leather jackets. There's this one guy carrying
a mace,
like
full size,
medieval
full on just mace, like from like the 12th century, and he's just walking around with it, and we're like, okay, yeah, we got invited here.
They're so
to die.
metal.
They just
There
wanted
was,
to kill a bunch
there
of
was
popcorn
foil
kids.
covering some of the doorways, like literally foil.
We literally looked at each other.
But okay, so the night was weird, but we ended up playing for our last song of the set. We're a pop punk band. We ended up playing Ocean Avenue from Yellow Card, and I shit you not, the guy with the mace puts his mace down and he's just jumping and having a good time singing the song. And I'm like, I knew you were faking it, bro. I knew you were full of shit.
Yeah, like the hardcore dude comes out from the back running to grab the microphone when we start playing that song. But initially, when we first got to the venue, we like looked at each other and we're like, "Is this we thought this was a prank? We're like, is someone pranking us? Like, what's going on here?"
There's even more before that because so it was a road trip to San Francisco. We basically hung out all day because we all had the day off, and then we're like, oh, we got to be there in like 2 hours. Hey, there's some food down the street. Y'all hungry? Yeah, I'm hungry. So we all eat, and one of us is like, all right, I'm finished. Hey, I'm gonna go check in and basically find out what we need to do because it's fucking parking's a bitch in San Francisco. And so we walk up. I think it was me. I walk up and one of the guys like, hey, are you in Perfect Score? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, where is everyone? And I'm like, they're just down the street. He's like, okay, well, apparently we were supposed to start an hour ago. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, I'm so sorry. I was booking it, and the dude told me be there at 8.
He said like 10-minute sets each or something.
Yeah, and we were supposed to get there at 6. The show was supposed to start at 7. No bands even started until 8 because that's when we were all told to get there.
Yeah.
And so that was the start up to that show.
That was our first.
So you played like 2 songs
too.
Yeah.
Like of all shows.
Yeah.
And what was the question?
So you played like 2 songs?
Well, he ended up letting the venue go on later.
Yeah.
Like you didn't close the doors as early, so.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of an older guy, and I don't think he wanted to mess with the dude walking around with the mace.
True. And there was like a band at the show. Like,
hey, there were 4 bands worth of people there.
Well, okay, so he said we each get a guest list spot, right? Which most venues would each get band member a guest list spot. So all of our girlfriends were the only ones there, and there's our guest list.
We're the out of town.
So the owner cornered a couple of our girlfriends. Apparently, we didn't find out until later that night, and was like trying to get them to pay, and yeah, so it was all bad. Good thing we didn't know earlier. Let's just say that. Yeah. I guess that was smart of them not to tell us.
So since then we've kind of been a little bit more hesitant with shows, but yeah.
But I hear stories like that from all touring bands when they start out. You never know exactly what's going to happen when you're out and out and about.
We can say no one got maced. We were good. Yeah.
With an actual mace.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. Thanks guys for being on. Thanks for everything. Go ahead and drop whatever you want to drop, like any info about upcoming shows or upcoming music or whatever you guys want to do, and sign off.
Awesome. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. We have a new music video for our song Doesn't Matter. It's exclusively on New Noise Magazine, I believe, but it's also on our YouTube channel. So anyone listening to this, go check it out because that'd be cool.
And we're setting up. We're getting actually a van right now, and we're setting up a couple Weekend Warrior tours. That's what we're gonna start out with. We're gonna hopefully do Oregon and Washington, and then Southern California, Vegas, and maybe Arizona a little bit. Just stay close to home, but also start branching out. So look for us if you're in those areas. That's it, I think.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
No problem. Thanks, guys.
Thank
All right, take care, man.
Pleasure
Thanks.
meeting you, dude.